Hey guys, and I'm going to be coming out with a new video about why you should not work at Fitness Evolution. Now, a lot of you probably don't even know what Fitness Evolution is, and I will inform you on that, don't worry. Fitness Evolution is a gym. They have several locations in Maryland and throughout, a couple other states. Doesn't really matter because they suck balls. Now, here's the thing. I worked at a Fitness Evolution off of the East Coast. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be pretty specific. I'm just not going to say my name in this one. It's the one in Silver Spring, literally a couple miles up the street from where I lived in Maryland. And that gym right there is a shithole. I back a couple years back, a little while ago, I was looking for a job and I got hired at a gym. I was super into working out at that time. This was great, get to work at a gym someplace then I get free membership, all that great stuff. And it was just something that was going to be all hunky-dory. I get in there, manager hires me. I really don't care about the names. I'm just going to say them. His name is Wes. Wes hires me, and I start my training. I think I got paid during my training. I got my training, got my shirt, all of that, and I was off to work at the front desk. I was front desk and sales. And basically how that works is anybody who works front desk is basically sales anyway, because they didn't feel like hiring official salespeople, whatever. And, not like you're ever going to mount to LA Fitness anyway. Like, shit, especially the way that gym was kept, it was terrible. So I work front desk, meet a couple really cool co-workers. A couple of them are personal trainers. Most of them are just front desk like me. A lot of them were just really cool. Most of them college students, stuff like that. We're all getting paid minimum wage. You do get commission on your sales though. So it was kind of a little bit of incentive. So you could make a little bit decent money when you're making a sale on top of just your normal hours. Now, this is when, how should I say this? Let's just say after a little while of working there, I realize a pattern. And the owner, I'm going to get to him a little bit later, but the owner kind of like dictates a lot of things. And whenever he's there, he's like one of the main owners that like started the gym with a couple other people. And when he's there at our gym, which is his main office also, everything is really tense. And I didn't really get it at first, but everybody's kind of like afraid of him. His name is Jeff. Can't remember his last name. But yeah, everything's a little bit tense. I didn't really understand. And then after a little bit more, I noticed the breaks are really, really weird. And so basically how Maryland law works is after a certain amount of hours, you get a mandatory break. Now, how that works is you can get an hour break, and then I believe every 2 hours you can get a 15-minute paid break. And this is by Maryland state law. There is no compromise. This is how it goes. They have no say in that. They're not supposed to have any say in that. But they did. And I don't know why we put up with this. And I mean, I would work like 3 hours, 4 hours. I would work like my 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I'd be like, I want to go to lunch. They're like, no, got to stay a little bit longer. I was like, whatever. Don't really care. I'll just pick it up in a little bit. No big deal. So that was one of the things that really sucked, is they're all pretty pushy about that. Another thing is So we have a snack, little like snacks in by the front desk that people can buy for really way overpriced prices. Really big, just a big rip off. You know, just basically the sleazy company trying to get their hands on some more money. And then I grab some stuff. I forget to pay $1 for like a candy bar, like $1 or $2 for a candy bar. I paid it like 2 days later. I just threw some money in the register. You know, no big deal. It was like $2, and I didn't even do it intentionally. I did pay it back. You know, it was like not that it was really a big deal, and the owner comes up, Jeff, and he's just like, "Hey, I saw you the other day. I was on the watching you on the cameras, and you didn't pay for that $1 candy bar or whatever." I was just like, "Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I did pay for it the day after." And he was like, "Oh, I have this on USB and could send this to the police and yada yada yada." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, go fuck yourself." Basically, I didn't have that attitude towards him at that time. You know, I was just like, I was being, you know, like what any person, you know, getting yelled at their boss is gonna be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, never happen again." But in reality, I'm like, whatever, fuck you, doesn't really matter. And then, you know, at first, the owner was nice to me, and I'm gonna tell you why. The owner just so happened to be was a childhood friend of my dad. Now, when my father learned about it, he was telling me stories about the owner and asking me if he was still stingy and all that stuff. And yes, he was. How the owner was stingy is, well, for one, basically he never took care of any of the equipment in the gym. And whenever anything went wrong in the gym with equipment wise, the people, the customers in the gym would come to us because they pay us good money, so they can use the facilities. And we would be like, "Sorry, we'll see if we can get it fixed." And we'd like put up a little note. We'd try to get it fixed because a lot of us work out at that gym too, and none of that's getting done. None of it is going to ever be taken care of. We're kind of mad at that because we would, even us would like working equipment, and we're getting a lot of flack from the customers because there's equipment that's breaking down, injuring them. I saw somebody get injured because he's too cheap to even fix like a treadmill. He just like took the part off that probably was supposed to be there for a reason, sliced some guy's foot open on the treadmill. Sorry, with all this stuff going off my phone, all this crazy stupid stuff. So later on down, after I realized that he was my friend of my dad at one point, and you know, he was nice to me a little bit, but he just, besides the fact that he was so cheap with that, and he wouldn't even really take care of his own like customers that are paying to use a facility. And if I'm paying to use your facility, I expect that your facility at least be good enough that that it could just, you know, just be working fine, you know? Like nothing's really, you know, super wrong for it. I get it, every once in a while somebody will break something, but at least get it fixed properly. There was a lot of improper fixes in there that was really weird and sometimes dangerous. We had bent bars, old dumbbells, you know, a cracked floor that dropped down a little bit, and he like paid like a little bit of money for it to get repaired. It was really terrible and just kind of really just sleazy. Now, another way he was really stingy is, I'm going to go a little bit in more on the personal side, is while he was family friends with my father, the owner, Jeff, would go to my dad's mini bike, which is like a small dirt bike, and steal gas out of his gas tank because he was too cheap to buy gas even at that time. And my dad told me a couple other things. I'm not going to get too much into detail about how he was just so stingy, stuff like that. But they were friends, so it was whatever. I'm not going to get too much into that. So moving forward, I made like a small mistake, here and there, but I would never do like something serious. It was like, oh, I didn't like type in somebody's number right by accident or something like that. And it was whatever, they weren't too upset about that. I was doing my job. I was making quite a bit of sales at that time too. And basically after a while I started seeing how much favoritism there was going on, certain people with like the manager and this and that and other coworkers. It started getting ridiculous, and the people that you have to deal with on a daily basis also is kind of ridiculous. I got to know a bunch of the guys that come in at the late night time of the gym. We close around 11, so they'd come in around 8:30, 9ish, and I'd be working there till 11, or I'd be working there till 9, and I'd have a good 2-hour workout. And those guys were great. They were great. Just pretty awesome people. But then I realized something. I got a key. I was like a key holder at one point, and my job is to open and to close sometimes. Now, there was a couple days in a row where I had to open and close at the same time. It was really only like twice, 2 days, but one of those times I closed and I had to open, which we opened at 5, but you try to get there earlier so you can open up the gym, turn on all the lights, women's bathroom, all that, without any interruptions. And it was ridiculous. Like, I did that once. I did it fine. I had to do it again, and I ended up like getting a little bit sick from that, and I just couldn't make it in. And the sleep deprivation of only like 2 hours of like sleeping a couple days was just ridiculous. And the manager called me in, you're getting written up, this, that, yada yada. And I was just like, that's just ridiculous, like, I know I said I would like really, try to pick it up if I could, but like, you should just really cut some slack on somebody that like went out of their way to do this, without really complaining at all, and then they get a little bit sick from that one thing, and you're just being a huge asshole about it. That's not right. But it didn't matter, whatever. They were getting all mad. They're all mad about it, but it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. And further down the road, I meet a guy who used to work at that gym. I'm not going to say any names for him, because I more respect him. And he was telling me how the gym has been going downhill ever since, how they have a high turnaround rate, this, that, how basically it's just like a favoritism pit. If you're liked, then you're basically set in that gym. If you're not like super liked by the higher ups, then you're not set. You're pretty much screwed with all the bad things, basically. And yeah, and basically after a little while of that, I ended up getting fired, and I don't really care that I got fired from that shithole. It's a terrible company that tried to place terrible policies on people. And here's the funny thing. Sales. Basically, when we sell somebody a membership, no matter what membership, we're supposed to get them an orientation. Now, an orientation is basically it's like an orientation with one of the personal trainers. They do their personal training thing. It's basically just one free session, and they wanted us to get an orientation. Now this orientation is like mandatory. We're supposed to like really try to get orientations, like a certain amount of orientations per sign up per month. But here's the thing that these smartasses did not know is that not everybody wants your goddamn orientation. I'm working out. If I signed up there and didn't work there, I would not want your stupid orientation. I don't care how good your trainer is. And I knew those trainers, and a lot of them were really, really good trainers, and they're really awesome people. But yeah, I don't want your stupid orientation. I know how to use the machines. And after a little bit of that, you know, it was just getting really ridiculous. Because they would be like, why aren't you getting enough orientations? And I would try to tell them, hey, not everybody wants orientations. We can't really do much about it if the customer doesn't want the orientation. You can't force it down their throat. And they just wouldn't listen. It was pretty garbage. But, you know, I never, like, really stole anything. I mean, there was that, like, $2, but I ended up, like, I ended up paying it, like, later because I didn't mean to. Because I thought I did put in the money. But it was whatever. And so the orientation thing and trying to do this and get me to do that, and it ended up being ridiculous. And basically they were really angry with me, and I was really fed up with them because basically a sleazy company like that just shouldn't be around, and they shouldn't treat any of their employees like that, and they were having a high turnaround rate, and I can honestly see why. And that is why I'm glad where I work is I've been going to where I work for many, many, many years now, and most 90% of the people that I saw 8 years ago when I first started going to that place still work there now. You know what? And I think it's just terrible when a company treats you and treats the customers the way it is. I personally would never work out at that place. It is a dangerous, unsanitary, it's just kind of like a hazard. A guy died in there, in the sauna. Yeah, great reputation right there. I know it's not 100% their fault, but still, like, he roasted overnight. Like, you can't just check the sauna really quick when you close up, so that somebody isn't roasting overnight. But, you know, whatever. Not me. It was just ridiculous. And they were just fed up with me. I was fed up with them. Comes around, it's getting close to where I'm pretty much done. I was getting ready to quit anyway soon. And I learned about this one guy who that works there. He probably still works there. Got away with all this shit. He was one of the personal trainers there, and he got caught watching porn on the work computer at the front desk, and he got a slap on the wrist. And, you know, it was like nothing ever happened, whatever. He got a little slap on the wrist. Now, what happened with me is how I got fired is one day I'm at work. It's near closing time. A lady comes in. She sits down on one of the ellipticals. She's pedaling away. We can change the channel for some people. I did not have the channel that she was asking for. So basically, she's pedaling away. She comes up to front desk. I say, "Yes, ma'am. What can I do for you?" And she's like, "Can you change the channel to blah blah blah?" Because I literally 3 seconds later, there's this old dude, a few TVs down, that asked for like ESPN, a really generic, you know, one of the generic channels that most gyms will have anyway for sports. and this woman asked for like some weird channel like Oprah Winfrey or whatever, and I was like, all right, one moment, I'll see. And I was looking up on the computer if we had it, trying to research. I was trying to get the channel for her, and I really couldn't. And then she starts yelling at me that why I couldn't change the channel. I tried to be calm. I was telling her I can't change the channel. I can't do this, can't do that for you. I'm sorry, yada yada. And she's just yelling. Some of the regulars are there. They're like, okay, whatever. They're like, what the fuck? And she's just yelling, calling me. This is prejudice against black people, and literally does not matter to me. I'm a minority myself. Don't really care what race you are. If I don't have the channel, I can't just magically change it for you. And if I do have the channel, I don't care what race you are, but I will change the channel for you. And she just like had enough. She was just like going ballistic and freaking out, yelling obscenities and this and that. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I can't do anything for you. And I pretty much just walked away from that situation because there was nothing I could do. And she ends up leaving, calls me an asshole. I'm like, okay, whatever, fuck you. And next day I come in, manager West calls me into his office. He's like, hey, we're going to have to let you go. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Signed the papers, left, never came back. Actually, the funny thing is I did. I probably could still. But I went in there after I knew when the manager, because I knew everybody's pretty much manager schedule. I would just go in there, work out. You know, what the hell, why not? You know, at their expense. I'll just use my own equipment. Doesn't really matter. But pretty much, it's more of the story. Fitness Evolution is a really shitty company. Never work there. Never do anything for I don't even know. It just kind of gets me mad, and I just kind of lose words about what I want to say. Just never work there, really. Like, why would you work at that place? It's a shithole. They do illegal stuff, like they cut into your paycheck a little bit. Obviously, they do this, they do that. It's really sleazy business, and the owner is just a sleazebag, and a lot of the other people are sleazebags. And I'm not saying everybody is. You know, some of the staff were great people, but it's just a sleazy company that really is just going to go down the shithole one day, and I hope I see that day, and it'll be really funny. If y'all want a good laugh, go down to the Fitness Evolution in Silver Spring, Maryland, like on their Yelp, and you'll see they're really, really, really crappy ratings there. And yeah, have yourself a good laugh. Alright, this is Poisonberry Pie Gaming. I'm signing off. I know this was a longer video than normal. I hope you all like this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm signing off.